What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Small Biz. In today's video, I'm going to give you two reasons why MULN and MCOM micromobility continue to sink into the abyss. And no, it's not primarily naked short selling in the dark pools. Instead, it is massive dilution, which I will outline today, combined with piss poor execution in both cases. And before today's episode is over, I will let you know what I'm personally going to do to dig our ass once again out of this ditch. All that and more coming right up. All right. If I look like a wet dog, it's because I was up at 2 o'clock this morning walking in the rain. We had a vicious rainstorm in the northern suburbs of Atlanta, so I'm dead tired. And yes, I find it therapeutic to walk in the rain, particularly if it's in the middle of the night, so that people look out their window and they go, "Who the hell is that, Helen? Is that somebody that's about ready to hijack our car?" No. It's somebody that can't sleep, and I see it, TTOO, about to flush the stops at 6 cents. But before I get started and run through an article that I shared on Twitter, follow me at Try Small Biz. Let me remind everybody, if you are following me, that we're playing with the house's money. We are up in the last 7 or 8 trades that we booked, 295%. 89% in CRKN, sold it at $27.75. House's money in SHPH and in TTOO. So yeah, it is down, what, 25% at 058 and change? But we made more than that last week or the week before. 295% gains booked, still up close to 600% on the year, especially when MCOM, last trade 31, was up around 54 this morning. But let's start off with the first pile of dung known as MULN. There is an article which, again, I will pin in the top of YouTube. It's already on Twitter. The title is 5 Signs That MULN is Entering a, quote, death spiral. Let me get to reason number 1. And I will quickly go through this so everybody understands. But let me just get it out of the way right away. There's somewhere between 1 billion to 1.25 billion shares that are either hitting the market right now through convertible dilution and or the 242 million that the 3 insiders filed to resell, meaning MULN doesn't get any of that money last week. So with the utmost respect, and you know who I'm talking about, there's a YouTube guy. It seems like all he talks about is MULN, and there's a guy with a Ukrainian flag, and they want, I believe, what's best for you. But they fail to see that Lion Larry is absolutely full of shit, right? Didn't he guarantee once again in Saturday or Sunday's video that the deal is on? So why are we at 38 cents where I said we were going 2 weeks ago when we broke 60, another all-time low? And why did MCOM, I get him confused. Why did it shoot way the fuck up to 54 on 100 times normal volume, only to collapse again? Last trade 31.25. But I start off with, see what happens when you walk in the rain in the middle of the night. Renegotiated agreements. On May the 19th, MULN's creditors delayed an agreement that previously, quote, irrevocably committed them to buying $45 million of Series D convertible preferred stock in warrants. So this dilution, this meltdown, this continued down, in my opinion, is 20% naked shorting because they can see what I'm reading to you out loud. It's 80% massive dilution, at least 1 billion or more shares. And it's piss poor execution. We've got more delays, more mock-ups, more trials. Where the fuck are the sales and the collection of money? Answer: in 9 years going on 10, David has done neither of those. So until we see an end to this dilution from this Series D convertible, and we actually see them deliver cars and or trucks and vans and collect money, we're going to continue to sink because I don't see a capitulatory bottom at 38.5 as we speak. So there was a Series D convertible that was supposed to deliver $45 million. It got delayed. You recall last week, Acuitas, one of their lenders, gave them $20 million, which included fully funded warrants, I believe, at 7255. Which leads me to reason number 2 why it continues to sink. There is a shortage of preferred shares, meaning the suspicions were further exacerbated or confirmed as to why it keeps going down into a death spiral on June the 5th after MULN announced a new deal with Acuitas. That's the $20 million that I just referenced. They get $78.6 million of common stock and pre-funded warrants at 7255 because, in simple terms, Equitas no longer wants to hold the preferred stock. They're willing to give them $20 million, toss them a bone in fully funded stock and or warrants because they don't want to continue to hold the preferred as the stock continues to fade. Probably has something to do with what I just mentioned. 242 million shares were filed for resale last week. Why? Somebody tell me in the comments. Why are the insiders blowing out of 250 million shares at an all-time low? And I believe they made that filing close to 55 or 60 cents. Why are they selling the piss out of it now at 38? Another all-time low. I'd love to have an answer for that. So we have a situation in simple terms where their creditors are losing faith. They no longer want to hold on to the convertible preferred. They're either delaying payments or they're renegotiating into fully funded common and warrants. Cash flow issues. Here's one that scares me to death. And again, the article is pinned on the top. They're burning through $33 million a quarter, and I'm talking about MULN. Multiply that times 4, you have approximately $135 to $40 million. Well, even after today, assuming they got the money June 12th, today's cash infusion, we estimate about $100 to $180 million worth of cash, meaning that MULN is going to run out of money by the end of this year, the first part of next. So if we get any more delays, if they fail to execute on their plan to deliver in July, August, and September and start collecting some money, we're fucked. So if you want my honest opinion, I'll give you a 50% chance we're dealing with the scam and it's going to a dime and we're going to have another reverse. I'll give you a 50% chance by the skin of our teeth we survive until August or September. We actually start to sell some of the vans and collect some of the money from Randy Marion. They'll make a big deal out of it. And we got a 50% shot of getting up and over $1 by the end of compliance in terms of the extension, which is September the 7th. So if they don't get organically back up and over $1 by the 7th, some say they got another extension. I say they did not get approval yet for being over $1 for 10 days straight. They said in that news release 3 weeks ago, we're still waiting for confirmation. So we're still on the second extension, in my opinion, because NASDAQ, for whatever reason, maybe it's because they saw something wrong with the convertible preferred, did not grant them the approval. Because David over at MULN, my goodness gracious, now that you've run shareholder equity into the ground minus 99.9%, why don't you come on out right now and say, oh, by the way, in case we didn't emphasize this back a month ago, we are NASDAQ compliant. Meaning we have at least 6 months to get back over $1, and then we have another extension because there's plenty of people, including this guy who's long at $1.13, that thinks they are not compliant. NASDAQ, for whatever reason, did not grant them for being over $1 10 days straight post-split compliance, which means we are fucked with a capital F if they don't get their shit together in fast. And then the fifth reason, and again, you can read this. They're about to get delisted on June the 26th from the Russell 3000 and thus the Russell 2000. So anytime you come out of an index, and that's the small cap in both cases, ETF, it's not good. It happened to be big before they went into a death spiral, did a reverse split, and went down what? Another 65% after we got out, and we were way too late. So I am long. I am raising hell. I think Lion Larry, I think he belongs back in jail. My goodness gracious, did you notice, by the way, when I called his ass out on his Gulfstream 550 post, what happens on the plane stays on the plane? 3 hours after I said that in the last video, he took it down. I've noticed, Lion Larry, you fill in the blank motherfucker, you keep pulling down posts that you think shouldn't be seen. And then what the hell is it with the camper? You notice it's the fanny pack photo, then it's the camper, then it's a deal is done, then it's I need time off, wishy-washy. Mark my words. When he said 3 or 4 days ago that he's now going to redo the deal or accept the deal with Mullins, I guarantee it probably doesn't go through. And if it does, he's going to be a nightmare for David and the team at MULN. All right, MCOM. Most of you own both. What the hell happened today as I pull it up? Last trade, 31.89. Sal, I unblocked you for a reason. We want an answer. How many shares did you dilute today? And have you already started round 2 with Yorkville? Because as I said in my most watched stock video last week, and by the way, it won't be the case this time, 100 likes. Nobody gave me a thumbs down. Now someone will go back and do it because I said it. So I greatly appreciate those of you that understand, even though I am long these stocks, and this morning especially was getting my ass handed to me along with many of you, I'm doing the best I can as I did with the idle program. When I smell a rat, I have to call it out. Somebody's got to stand up to these motherfuckers and say, wait a second, it's not the naked selling, it's massive dilution, it's piss poor execution. And in the case of MCOM, when you've traded 125 times normal volume, 1.2 million is the average. We're going to close in on close to 170 million traded today. In the pre-market, it jumped from 30 to 45, got as high as 55 or close to it before the open. And then kaboom. And a couple of times, you notice I was warning people in probably several posts where I had to delete. That's all, folks. Block some people that were extremely rude to me. I was trying to tell you, be very careful who you're dealing with. This is the same guy that had us at 21.5, and I'm talking about Sal, the worst CEO in NASDAQ history, on Friday. And then he comes up with a scheme after hours that he's going to get into the automotive business. So as I said to him on Twitter, Sal, how many shares did you delete today and why? Have you already started round 2 with Yorkville? And my third question, and this should be asked tomorrow in his Twitter Spaces call, what the hell are you doing getting into automotive? Reminding you, everybody, this guy started HellBiz at 2015, went public as a SPAC at $10 a share in 2022. Traded as high as 30. Split adjusted, it's worth a penny. So you've lost 99.9% dealing with this slimy ass motherfucker who cannot tell the truth. Somehow, some way, he cooks up a scheme to go and acquire a company that admits they've lost their investment banker, YAYO. They're a fleet management company in the EV space. So here we have Sal, HellBiz Wheels, which turns into micromobility. So they've gone from a ride-share micromobility company, e-bikes and scooters. Then they do the reverse split. They come up with what I consider to be a great name, and they claim they're going to go into retail now. They took those $5 pre-orders for a $1,600 bike. Soho's the first retail location. And the story, at least a month or two ago, before we dropped another 90%, it's hard to keep track, isn't it? 90% from where we own the stock was that this was going to be a retail play. We were going to lower our risk with the ride share as some cities and even countries outlaw or cut way back on scooters because it's a pain in the ass, and just sell them outright in retail locations. So here we have a great name that's supposedly going to be rideshare meets retail, but suddenly we're now going to get into the B2B enterprise space and have all these alliances with automotive companies. Folks, micro mobility, tiny forms of transportation, scooters, e-bikes, skateboards, wheelchairs, etc. Electric vehicles and cars and trucks has absolutely nothing to do with the company. And I challenge anyone, including Sal, before this thing came out a few days ago, show me one news announcement or one tweet anywhere over the last several years where he talked about aligning himself with the automotive business. The only reference there is, going back about 5 months, is when he talked to MULN. He reached out to David in the hopes that he might be able to manufacture his little bikes and maybe those shit-ass Dixie Cup hats that are a total joke on their website. Maybe that's the only reference. Folks, I fail to see, and somebody tell me in the comments, and Sal, you're welcome to speak up, whether it's on YouTube or Twitter. What does the automotive industry, which is struggling, by the way, MULN's a great example, CENN, you could go up and down the line. Basically, everybody but Tesla is having a very tough time. What do you at MCOM have in conjunction or alignment with fleet management or the automotive industry? What is a fucking scooter, an e-bike, a Dixie Cup hat, or those $5 water bottle, similar to that cheap ass suit that you wore on CNBC before you took the stock down 99.9%. What do you have to do with the automotive space? I'm all ears. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, as I said in the last video, I'm looking out for your best interest. I own the stocks. I'm fighting like hell to get you the answers that you deserve. Always remember that we love you, and thanks for watching. You see my George Jefferson on Twitter? If I could learn how to dance with that, I'd have absolutely no trouble with women.